Hello and welcome once again. This is Nelson Karanja for Global Media. Global Media supports you in your film production, where we offer post-production support services such as editing, VFX, and all the things that make your project look more appealing to the client. Today we have a very exciting tutorial. We want to dive into After Effects and Mocha Pro. We want to see how we can put a tattoo on a dog, because dogs can also be very human. And let's first of all put in our assets. I've downloaded some 2 clips here from Storyblocks. I've got clip of a dog, and I also have a PNG image. I'll first of all bring in this one into Adobe After Effects, and it's a 1920 by 1080, and that's a HD clip, and it is only about 11 seconds long, which is sufficient for what we are doing. We want to create a new composition, and we just want to drag it right here so we can create a composition that has the properties of that particular clip. We have a lovely dog here. I don't know the owner because we want to put a tattoo here just as well. I want to get the best frame where the dog has its face, or the surface that I want tracked is facing the camera, and I need to mark that frame so that I can also use it in Mocha Pro. I want to go ahead and put our effects, Mocha Pro, and if I go to our effects control tab, here is our Mocha. I want to go ahead and launch that one. Okay, here we are in Mocha Pro, and as you can see, it's already loaded, and our reference frame is actually the one that appears on our screen. We want to go ahead and mark the area that we want to track on our dog, and I want to make my work easy for myself. So I will avoid the nose, the eye, and all that, because I just want to put an image on this cheek here. And once we do that, we can come, because I know the dog is moving its head around, and I'm not sure how this will be affected. I'll go ahead and put on perspective as well as mesh. Now this is what is known as power mesh. The moment you do that, you can see you have this kind of mesh that appears in your track area, and we want to change. This is the automatically generated splines that come with it. We want to change that, the generation mode from automatic. We want to put that to uniform, and if you do that, you will find if you generate mesh, you'll find now that it is uniform. You can change the mesh size. I will not change that for now. The other thing I would want to change is this. I don't want to track anything outside of this area from this edge, so I will remove the vertices on spline and regenerate that, so it kind of confines itself to whatever is inside here. Now I must admit I'm not an expert in Mocha Pro. I'm actually just testing it out, and to see whether it will be of use in my film production. So let's see how this one works. I'm going to go ahead and track forward from this frame, and fingers crossed, hope it will stick. So let's go ahead and have it tracked. I'll speed up so that we don't have to wait too long for it. So I will get back to you once it has tracked. Okay, so far tracking forward, the mask is holding on quite well. I hope that will be the same case going backwards. So far it's holding on very well. Okay, it's tracked to the end. Now let's go back to our starting frame. Let's go back to our starting frame and track backwards and hope that this one will hold as well. Let's see how that one works. So far it's holding on very well. I've not had to intervene. But actually, if you needed to, you could adjust this. If I pause it like here, you can see it will stop. I don't have to adjust this, but just for illustration, if you needed to change to edit the track mesh, you can actually do that. You can click here and you can change the entire mesh. For example, if you come here, you'll find that you have two options: the marquee selection or the lasso selection. If I pick that, I could actually just select everything that is here, and that will mean I can actually move the entire mask around. You could also change just a selection of these points and maybe adjust them the way you want. In this case, I really don't need to do that. But if you had to, you could actually adjust this mesh. But let's continue tracking backwards. Our mask is holding on quite well. Okay, our tracking is done, and if you play it forward, you can see whether it held on all the way. And I think in our case, it did just fine. If you have no patience, you can just scrub through and you're okay. Now, the only other thing that we need to do here, actually two things, very important. Remember the reference frame we set in After Effects? That was 9:17. It would be best if we went back there, around there. That was the frame we selected, and this is the one we want to use as our reference frame, where we will put our tattoo or anything we want to put on the face of this dog. So we'll come to Stabilize tab. Now, while we are still on this particular frame, 9:17, we want to set our planar surface. If you do that, you can see it is selecting this area, but we need to take the entire frame. So we need to come here and expand the planar surface. When you do that, it takes the whole frame. Now, in this particular tab, the Stabilize tab, we need to select Mesh Warp, and then we will change this from draft to high. And that's pretty much all we need to do in Mocha. We can save. If you close that, it will ask you whether you need to save, and that is okay. You need to save that. The other way is to save it, is to just go to save here, and you click that. It will save the project, and now that is auto saving. Or if you just close, if you haven't saved it, it will ask you if you want to save that, and to give you an opportunity to save that. Now we are back here and we are still on our reference frame. The first thing I want to do is to duplicate this layer, Control D to duplicate. I don't need Mocha Pro on this particular one, but actually I just need to freeze this frame so that I can use it as an image, so that I can insert my graphics on it. So while we have this one, we can go to layer and we can go to time and we can freeze the frame. That is one way we can freeze that. The other way is actually just to render this frame. So we can just go to, actually let's just do both. Let's just go and put layer and time freeze frame, and now the whole of this is actually an image. But I actually want to have this in Photoshop. Let's go to save frame as a Photoshop layer, and it will ask you where to save that. I had already created a folder for that in my desktop, Doctor 2, and I want to save it here. I will call this dog reference frame so that I can be able to track it. Now we can go to our, let's open that in our desktop, Doctor 2, and we have our reference frame. If you just double click on that, it will open in Photoshop where we can insert our graphics. You can actually do all this in After Effects, but I just find that it's easier to no, it's opening in the beta mode and I don't want that. Let's go back. I don't want that in beta, because that one you have to be, I don't want that. Close the program. I don't want it in this particular version. And you can open with Adobe Photoshop 2022. Okay, here we are. We have our image. I'll hit Control 0 to fill up the frame, and right there we have it. The other one I need to put in is the image of the graphics or whatever it is we want to put there. Here I've downloaded a PNG image of a little puppy. Cute, it has its background, and I just want to click and drag this onto the layer that has our dog. Of course it's very huge, and if you do Control 0 it fills up the frame. I'll do Control T to transform, and I just want to bring it much lower and move it back. Again, hit Control 0 to go back to a bigger screen, and I can probably do that. Now the only reason I like using Photoshop is, you know, as much as you can do, you can place such a simple image in After Effects. If you have to do more detailed work like makeup or remove tattoos, things that actually require you manipulating an image, then Photoshop is still a better environment to do all that. So I'll try and put this one where I think would be ideal and makes sense. I can turn it around, perhaps just move it around like that, and you can do a few things while you are still in this mode. You can distort it, you can You can warp, you can adjust it the way you feel you want it to look like. You can change perspective, you can skew, you can do a lot of things on when you are in this environment. So but in this case I will be satisfied with just that. You can also check which blending mode is likely to give you the best result. Mostly you'll find that multiply will still be a better bet than all the others when you have an image that has a lot of white in it. Okay, so we'll have it there. Now the only thing is I don't really need to set that one when I'm here. I just need to see how it will look like, because that we will set in After Effects. Now if you're using Photoshop, it's very, very important when you are saving this image to actually disable this reference frame, because you don't need it. You just need the image of your puppy. So you'll set the blending mode back in After Effects. So I'll disable this, and now I'm left with this. You can save this. Actually, you need to save this as a PNG image so that it can still retain its transparency. Make sure that transparency is checked and everything else here remains the same. It will ask you where you want to save it. I still want it here, and I will put this as our insert image, just so that it doesn't overwrite the other one in case I need to come back, and I can do that, and it will save that one, and we are done in Photoshop. And I can close that. Do I want to change? No, I don't want to. Do I want to save? And now this reference frame that we have created is here. No, yeah, it's right here. It's this one. We can now come back to After Effects, and we can bring in that image that we have created in Photoshop, and I want to bring it down. Now let's put this particular image here as a guide layer. That means if After Effects will ignore it when it comes to rendering, and we don't have to switch it off. And we can now bring in our dog friends. We come here, we put it on. Because we had already set it in After Effects, we don't need to manipulate anything here. I just need to pre-compose these two and call it the insert, or any name that you will remember what it was if you come back to your project. And we want to come here and copy this Mocha. You can hit Control C, or yeah, I'm on Windows, so Control C to copy. You come to this one, Control V, and now you have your Mocha here. We come to Module Renders, and we select Stabilize Warp, and we want our warp quality to be high, and we click on Render, and then we go to Matte, and then we say Apply Matte. And I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing that we can do now, if we check, if we scrub through, we should see that our image is now sticking to the face of our dog. Okay, now we can now change our blending mode to multiply. You can experiment with several, and I think for purposes of what we have here, I think it's taking quite well. Okay, my computer is not very powerful, so it's lagging on the preview, but that is pretty much how you do that. You can go ahead and render this composition. I can go here so here we are, Adobe Media Encoder. Let's check the size of our file. Here we are, it's estimating 14 MB. I think I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna change that. That's something we can handle. 14 MB is not bad. We can select where to output it. I'll put it in the same folder that I had, and I'll call it dog tattoo MP4, and let's go ahead and render that. And I think we are done. It's all rendered out. Let's see what we got. Dog tattoo, and let's see how this one looks like. Okay, there you are. Until next time, this is Nelson Karanja. Please hit that subscribe button, share, like, and talk to us. Thank you. See you next time.